Hello, 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 and welcome back to Queens Who Empower Queens. For those of you that do not know who I am, my name is Sarah. I am the founder here at Queens Who Empower Queens, and today's topic is prime of your life. Being in the prime of your life. If you all can drop down in the chat and let us know what does it mean to you to be the prime, to be in the prime of your life. Are you in the prime of your life? Please drop it down in the chat and let us know. As you all know, I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you guys are tuning in with us here at Queens Who Empower Queens. We appreciate you. We want to thank you guys for sharing the group to others, subscribing to our YouTube channel. Shout out to all the new subscribers out there. Woohoo, woohoo. We are on the roll, you guys. Also, for the ones that are joining the community now, watching us live on YouTube and have not hit that subscribe button, you all go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave us a special comment in the comment section below too as well. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this interview. Of course, you all know I only bring you guys the exclusive, many different queens putting the work and building back our communities. Okay. So for today, I have a special guest speaker for you guys. Yes. I would like for you all to invite, well, I wouldn't say invite because she's already here, but I would like you all to give it up, put your hands together, stomp your feet, and give it up for Miss Kaylin on today on this platform. She is a scientist, she is a community strategist, she is a logistic specialist in the US military. She also won Miss for America 2021, and she continued her love for pageantry through mentorship and volunteer work across multiple pageant systems. Would you all please give it up and welcome my girl, Caitlin, to the platform?
Hello.
Woohoo! Welcome, 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 Queen.
Hi. Thanks for having me. And let me say, I'm extremely proud of you for having this platform where you allow women to come on and truly empower other women. So I'm grateful to be here because women have empowered me, right? Like that's how I'm able to stand here today. So for me, this is passing along that empowerment. I stand on the shoulders of giants, and I hope somebody can stand on my shoulders one day. So thank you for providing a platform to allow me to do that and be in that position.
I love it. And it is definitely a pleasure to have you on our platform today, Queen.
Thank you.
So thank you, thank you, thank you. Would y'all please drop it down in the chat and let our girl Kaylin know that we appreciate her for coming onto the platform and dropping some gems on us today, you guys. Please also drop down in the chat. Let us know where you guys are tuning in with us from. And let us know if you're in the prime of your life. So, with that being said, Queen, we're going to go ahead and get right into the interview. We're not going to
All
hold
right.
anyone hostage on today. So, would you please introduce yourself, letting us know who you are and where you are from?
Absolutely. So my name is Kaylin Tiggs. I am from Ohio, born and raised.
Shout out
Proud
to
of
Ohio.
proud Ohioan. I love this state. I love my hometown. Right now, I'm between Cincinnati and Dayton because I just got engaged. My fiance's in Cincinnati, but I've lived all. Thank you.
Congratulations. I
Yes,
love it.
girl.
I love it. I love love. We
But
love
I've
love
lived
here.
all over Ohio,
I
and
know that's right. I might have to move down there because I haven't found one yet, honey. Or he haven't
you
found me.
will listen. We're talking about the prime of our lives here. When it's time, you will have yours. You will have your partner.
Absolutely, Queen. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So we're gonna go straight into it because we want to know about the prime of your life.
Okay.
How is the journey going of being in the prime of your life?
So I'm 31 right now, and I would say that I am in the prime of my life because so many things have changed for me, especially after winning the pageant. So my journey to Miss for America was a very rocky one, but I'm so grateful for it.
Congratulations
Thank you.
again.
Thank you. So over the course of 6 years, I had participated in 21 pageants. And
Wow.
it wasn't until my 21st pageant that I finally won for the very first time. And that title was Miss Ohio for America. And then I went on to win the national title of Miss for America. And so I feel like I've been in the prime of my life for years, but I've been primed to get here. Um,
Love it.
I feel like where I am right now is a testament to all of the growth and all of the things that I've had to go through to be able to appreciate this moment. I'm living in what I've been asking for years. I had asked for that title of Miss for America, and that title has never left me. You know, that was in 2021. And with that work, I've been able to make history in the state of Ohio, you know, working with previously incarcerated women and getting the first menstrual equity bill introduced into the state house that's going to provide greater access to menstrual products for women who are incarcerated. In that same realm, um, through that work with that title, I was able to get the Ohio Department of Rehabilitations and Corrections to implement the first ever policy in Ohio's history that mandated that all corrections facilities, all the state ones, provide 24-hour access to menstrual products. I was able to buy my first home. I was able to graduate with my master's degree in psychology, and that's propelled me into a career of teaching neuroscience and making
I love
neuroscience
it.
translatable, and to democratize that, right? Like to make science accessible to people in all communities. It's important for people to understand how science and politics, affect their everyday life. And so I feel like I'm in the prime of my life due to all of the growth that led me into pageantry. And the
And
pageantry has led me to develop the confidence and put me in the position to be able to do all these things that I'm doing right now. So I feel like I'm in the prime of my life. And it's, the prime of your life, I don't think it ever changes, right? Like if
I don't believe
you're
so
always
either.
you're always growing, you're always having new experiences. So it depends on your outlook on things. If you feel like you're ever not in the prime of your life, you probably are, because that's where the growth is happening. That's where the change is
Absolutely.
happening. If you're uncomfortable, that's the prime of your life too. Enjoying the journey along with going through the struggles to get to your destination, all of that is included in the prime because none of this is finite. None of this has a final destination. It's all about the growth. It's all about the journey, and it's continuous. So that's how I look at it. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with things.
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love what you are doing out here
Thank
in the
you.
community. Like you are doing a lot.
Thank you.
You are doing a lot, but you are doing
I'm
great. You are doing great things because some of the things that you just stated on the platform, they like the incarcerated women, they definitely needed that. So you definitely have a big heart. You definitely have a
thank
big
you.
heart. Like just to think of others, And it seems like nowadays it take a lot for others to think of others.
You know what's interesting is I think that that's what social media and the news wants us to believe. But when you really get into the heart of community, there are so many people looking out for each other. When I first started this work with previously incarcerated women, I had that imposter syndrome, right? I was thinking, how, with me never being incarcerated before, was I going to relate to this group of people? And we came together and realized that our commonality was our humanity. I had a platform to be able to, address these issues, and they had their voices and they had their stories. And once we, you know, rehumanized each other and trusted each other and listened to each other's stories, now we're working together, right, to get something
Absolutely.
accomplished. And I'm seeing that all the time. And I think, especially with the events going on in the world today, um, the world will have you believe that people don't care about each other. But what I'm seeing, the people I'm surrounding myself with, and the people in my community that I know, they will step up and help each other as needed. And
Absolutely. I
so
love
I
it.
think we got to remind ourselves, like, not everything we see is a reflection of the entire world. We know there's bad things in the world. We know people do bad things and make mistakes. But when we get down to the heart of people, there's always a reason. And there's always, people are not defined by the worst thing that they do, and
I
through
absolutely
working
agree.
with incarcerated women, I've learned to trust people. I've learned to forgive. I've learned to see people for who they are. And I've surrounded myself with that. So in my world, people are kind. People help
I
each
love
other
it.
out. And that's the message that I'm trying to send, is like, don't give up hope and believing that people are good people.
I love it. I love it. And that's why that was one of the reasons why this platform was built, because we see so much in the world today. Like, watching the news, they never have good news. They need to make good news because a lot of people do not know that we have women, not just women, men too, in the communities that's doing good deeds. And for me to just bring them onto the platform to let others know that, hey, we have, such and such doing this in the community. Maybe you want to get involved, but it seems as if some people don't know that this is going on in the community. So if we can bring awareness and shine some light on it, because this is a big spotlight,
Mm-hmm.
shine some light on this to let them know, hey, this is going on. We got to build better communities. We have to come together. So that's what we're doing here. So I'm just so thankful that you as a woman, that you are out here in our communities, not just out here in the community, but you are in where I don't want to go.
So, I think about what my role is in all of this and in the social justice realm. And I'm a scientist and I'm a critical thinker and I'm a writer. And I always think about how can I use that skill to make a difference. And I find that, you know, using my work to make a difference, using science to make a difference, that's my resiliency. That's my way of protesting.
Yeah,
So while, everything that you read about certain communities can come off as pathologizing or um, even devastating sometimes, right? Like,
absolutely.
everything that we read about the African American community will show that there's something wrong with us. Everything in the news, you know what I mean? Everything on social media, it shows us in such a negative light. And
Absolutely.
it's the same in our science and in our literature and our scholarship. And so my goal with my skills in politics and in science is to show that people in our community are resilient people. It's to involve members of our community into this process so they have a say so in what science is being developed about us and about our community. And that's my way of getting involved. So I would say that I'm more behind the scenes. I'm supporting those who are, actively in the community, but I want people to know that I'm fighting on a different platform and I'm like the only face on this platform. You know what I mean? Like, I walk into a room and I'm the only Black woman, sometimes the only woman, and I feel like I'm representing
You
all of
are.
us in that space. And I want to be sure that everyone understands that I'm not representing everyone's voice per se, but with me being there, I'm representing that we belong in these spaces. I don't
Absolutely.
share the opinion of every single person of color, every single woman, but my presence shows that we as women of color belong on these platforms. And that's one of the ways that I am, you know, showing resiliency and advocating on that social justice realm and in that context. So I just wanted to make that, I wanted to be more specific because I used to be on like the front lines. I used to be actively in the schools and tutoring and doing community service, but I felt that I could do so much more. I could change things on a policy
Yes.
and scientific level, and that's where I'm at.
And I definitely agree. I definitely
Thank
agree
you.
because, everything, as you think about a lot, in the world, a lot has to do with science.
Everything. Finances and
Exactly,
everything.
like everything. So it is good that we have you behind the scenes. Black power. We need that.
Thank you.
And as a black woman
Mm-hmm.
being out here, being in the role that you are in, I just gotta give you a big shout out because especially when things are set against us and we are able to overcome those obstacles, those trials, and those tribulations, like what would you say to a woman? Because you definitely are in the prime of your life. You're definitely in the prime of your life. But what would you say to those women out there that's dealing with many different obstacles, thinking that they cannot go on, having trials and tribulations, and they want to do more, they want to be able to do these things, but they have this fear and they're comfortable where they are. What advice would you leave here on the platform for them?
I want people to know that it doesn't stop being scary. You have to understand that you need to work through the fear, walk with the fear. In fact, welcome it, welcome the critics. I think a lot of people are one afraid of just how far they can go and how great they can be, right? That
Absolutely.
imposter syndrome where you, again, that I was talking about earlier, like I have this great idea, I know I could do something, but who am I? And
Absolutely.
my question back would be, well, why not you? Why can't
Absolutely.
you be the person to make this difference? And so the fear is natural because this is scary. This is a new idea. This has never been done before. You're working with people who might reject you. Like your brain is designed to protect you. So when
Absolutely.
you are conscious of the fact that you're going to walk into a room and there are going to be people who are going to literally judge you, people who are literally going to criticize you, that is
Absolutely.
scary. But it's not the critic who matters. If you're in the arena and you're fighting for a purpose and you're fighting for a cause, if somebody's not there next to you, if somebody's not there fighting with you, then who cares what they're saying?
Absolutely.
You got to welcome the critics. You got to know
That's
that they're
right.
there. Get comfortable with them. Get comfortable with fear because it's never going to go away. And nothing is
Absolutely.
ever accomplished when you're comfortable. When
Absolutely.
you're uncomfortable, that's when you know you're in the right place.
That's right. That's
So
definitely
welcome
right.
the fear and embrace it and learn how to work through it. You got to do it while you're afraid, step by step. But don't let fear paralyze you because then you're going to be tortured with your vision.
That's right.
You're going to sit there and it's going to be on your mind constantly. And you're going to have this dissonance where you're sitting there thinking about what you want to do. And there's the fear that's stopping you from actually doing it. That's where you're going to have to just make a choice. Am I going to try this, even though I'm scared, and take a step out on faith? I may not know what's going to happen, but that's literally what faith is. It's
Absolutely.
taking a step, not knowing if you're going to trip or fall. But I'm
But
telling
just
you,
doing
you're
it.
going to trip and fall. You don't know when, you don't know what step it's going to be, but go anyway and get back up and keep going. So you got to welcome the fear, welcome the critics, embrace it. It's going to happen. But if you know your idea is going to change the world, if you have something to offer, then you have a responsibility to put that out into the world. You have that response. We need you. Your
That's right.
voice is important. Your experience is important. And the idea was yours. That means it's your responsibility to bring it to the world and make that change.
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
Thank
So
you.
I love what you said. She just dropped some gems on this podcast tonight. You all drop it down in the chat. Let our girl know that you all felt that message because I know I felt that message, and that's what it took for me when joining pageantry. It took for me to get out of my comfort zone. Like I was so content with where I was at, what I was doing for many years, thinking that I couldn't do nothing else.
Yep.
And now I'm just starting to amaze myself every day, every step of the way.
We get content in our fear. I
Yeah,
want you to get content with fear, not in the fear. Get content with
Absolutely.
fear. Walk with it. Walk hand in hand with it because
Absolutely.
it's not going to go away.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. So
I'm
with
proud
that
of
being
you for
said,
stepping out of your comfort zone and competing.
yes,
That's
it
amazing. I know firsthand what you mean by that, right? I started
yes.
competing in pageantry a long time ago, and my very first pageant was a hot mess. They asked me, "Who are you?" That was my very first question. I'll never forget it, and I could not answer it.
So you did not know who you were then.
That's when I knew that I needed to keep going because it was
Mhm.
through pageantry that I figured out what I was passionate about, what my purpose was, that I knew that my platform was going to involve leadership in some capacity. And it was through that avenue that I was able to discover who it is that I am and the type of woman that I was going to be and the type of leader that I was going to be because I knew that I wasn't just a participant. I knew that I was a leader.
Absolutely.
I deserve to be at the table, at
Yeah, you
making
definitely right.
decisions at the highest level. So, like, I want women to determine where it is that they want to be. And women are leaders in every aspect of their life, whether that's in their home, whether that's, at their dinner table, whether that's in their small business or leading a group of people in a Fortune 500 company. Leadership looks different for every woman, but I do want every woman to think of herself as important and valuable and a leader within whatever capacity she deems worthy. And that was, you know, the way that I needed to start to see myself. So I understand what you mean when you say you start to surprise yourself because who I am now, I never thought I would be that person when I started pageantry a couple of years ago. Almost a decade ago, not a couple years ago,
Yeah, I'm
almost a
gonna say
decade
you.
ago. No, exactly a decade ago. I think it was 2013 was my very first pageant. I was
Wow.
told that a Black woman was never going to win the Miss Ohio America title. This was not Miss Ohio for America. This was the Miss America system. And
Okay.
not to speak against the Miss America system, but one of the directors from the local pageants, this is what they told me. And, I had that choice. I had a choice to, succumb to this critic,
Mm-hmm.
or I was going to create my own destiny. And it
I
took a
love it.
long time, took 6 years, it took 22 pageants, but then I ended up winning a national title. So when you don't give up and you decide your own destiny, you
That's
will
right.
surprise yourself and
That's right.
will
I
end up
love it.
further than you imagine. Because I mean, when I won Miss Ohio for America, I didn't, I had prepared, right, to go to nationals and I was focused. But to actually win it, that was crazy.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
like out of all the 50 states, me. So, when you're focused and you know who you are, you know where you're going, they got to give you the crown.
I love it. I love it. You definitely right about that. They had to give you the crown. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Thank you.
And you almost got into our next question, but I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. So, when talking about purpose, what or who inspire you to walk in your purpose and be dedicated to your purpose?
Oh, gosh. So the first person is probably going to be my grandmother. She's a pioneer in Ohio. She was inducted into the Senior Citizens Hall of Fame in
Oh,
2005
shout out.
for her work. Yeah, she back in the 70s, she created the Bethune Center in Columbus, Ohio, which was a center for teenage girls who had gotten pregnant.
Okay, that
And
is
it
great.
was a like a boarding school for teenage girls who had gotten pregnant, and she was inducted into the Hall of Fame for so much of her community work. And so, like, it's literally in my blood, right? So my
Yeah.
grandmother inspired me a lot. And then I'm also very much inspired by the women that I'm working with, the previously incarcerated women, to see them, thrive after spending multiple years behind bars, being stripped of their identity. being reduced to a number, having everything that they know be stripped from them, everything familiar be stripped for them, and to come out and have degrees and have children and have family and have a attitude and have the strength to work with me, to take that pain and those experiences to try to make a difference on such a grand level. I am so inspired by them.
Yes.
I'm inspired because you would look at these women and you have no idea what they've been through. And it inspires me to make sure that I'm not looking through people,
Absolutely.
that I'm looking at people, that I'm walking with people, not in front of people, not behind people, but walking with people, and keeping the humanity of all people at the center of all of my advocacy. No matter what their idea is, no matter, if I agree with them or not on their choices, they are still a human being. And
Yes.
at that baseline, I'm inspired and I respect them. So I'm inspired by all of the people who have been through whatever they've been through and can come out and use that to make a difference. Like there's no reason in my opinion why we can't all be better to each other, why we can't all work together to achieve whatever goals we need to achieve in our community. So I'm inspired by the people that keep that hope and that vision alive, and that motivates me to keep going, because it's the advocacy work that I'm doing, working at the State House. It's not easy. We've been rejected. We're going on almost 3 years now of trying to get this legislation into place. They won't let me give up, and I won't give up on them. So we work together. I carry my grandmother with me. She's passed away now, but I carry
I'm so
her
sorry to hear that.
with me. No, don't be. She's with me all of the time. Life is a circle, we all pass away, but that doesn't mean that our loved ones leave our sides and leave our spirits. So she's always with me. And I remember what she went through. She was a Black woman in the 50s and 60s, got a master's degree, went to school, opened up her own school, became a pioneer in the state of Ohio. And she's got her name plastered.
Yes, it sounds like grandmother did some great things.
Women have done great things, and we never get the full, we never get the full recognition for all the amazing things that we do. So I make sure, that I recognize the women that are in my life for the amazing things that they do, from mothers to grandmothers, previously incarcerated, sisters, daughters, and even women like you, like women that I meet through pageantry, have done it a couple of times. If there's anything I could do to support you, please let me know. I would be happy to, because you inspire me. All of you inspire me to keep going.
Yes, absolutely. Because you all definitely inspire me to not just build this platform, but to keep going, to keep hope alive, and to let other queens know that, hey, this is just the beginning. A lot of people out here in the world need to know that it's bigger than us. You know what I'm saying? We can't give up. We have to keep going.
We don't have the luxury.
Absolutely. We do not.
When we achieve, everybody benefits from our achievements. Like this work that we're doing, there's just a few of us, but everyone in the state, thousands of women who are currently incarcerated and the thousands that are coming, will have these benefits from this bill. And those people will never know who we are. They're never going to know our names, but it's our responsibility to see a problem, to do what we can to fix it, and to leave a legacy so that the people behind us know what to do when it's their turn to get up and fight.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it.
There's a teaching component to this. That's, I think, what's
yes,
in our advocacy. We have a lot of people that, just want to take the credit for things and move on, but we have to pass down this information.
That's right.
Pass down this work and pass down the grind. We got to teach people. To your question earlier, you're going to be tired. Expect it.
Absolutely.
Expect it, but keep going.
Absolutely. And like I tell everybody, you are going to get the strength that you need.
You'll find it. When
Yes,
you have your why, when you have your purpose, that's what you need to tap back into when you start to feel weary. And that will give you the strength, and that will give you the
absolutely.
ideas. Because when you feel like you don't know what to do next, something's going to pop up in your head because you have your purpose, you have the why. So
Absolutely.
when you get afraid, tap back into why you started doing what you were doing, why you feel this idea is important, and it's got to benefit somebody else. If your
Definitely.
idea is all about you, it's only going to be temporary. But if you have an idea that's going to change other people's world,
That's
then
right.
that's worth pursuing.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. So, the next question that I have for you, I want to know, with all the great things that you have going on, and I know science is a big part of, everything that we do pretty much. But when did you realize that you wanted to be a scientist and why?
Oh gosh. So my background is in psychology, and I was working with those who were struggling with addiction.
Okay.
And this was back right after undergrad, so about 2015. Um,
So when you say addiction, what type of addiction?
like drug and alcohol addiction.
Okay. And can you explain to us, because I know we have a lot of, especially in our community,
Hmm.
we have a lot of addictions,
Hmm.
different addictions that people are addicted to. How did you help those?
Yeah, so I was a chemical dependency counselor. So I was working in a program. It was called Transition to Independence, where I was helping young teens and young adults transition off of drugs into a life of independence. So we were working on building their life skills, essentially, and building coping skills in the process so that they would not self medicate and rely on drugs and alcohol to resolve their emotional problems. So we did a lot of work with emotional regulation and a lot of work with like self-reflection. Why do we feel this way? What are some of the ways that we can cope with things, and building life skills so that they wouldn't disappoint themselves with certain decisions and fall back into a pattern of drug and alcohol use. Because a lot of the reasons why people utilize drugs outside of like traumatic events in their lives is just that disappointment of and stress of not being able to move forward, not having access to resources, and not being able
Absolutely.
to fulfill a life that they envision for themselves. Right? There's a depression and a sadness that comes with that and can potentially lead to drug use. So I was doing that, but I realized that, at least at the time, a lot of the treatment options were so topical. They were so surface level. They did not address the root cause of people's issues. Um,
Hmm.
and we know that drug dependency then turns into a chemical change in the body and the brain, where now this person is less in control of their addiction than they were before, right? Like now it's a brain neuronal chemical problem.
Yes.
So understanding that, 90 days in a treatment facility was not going to fix all of these people's problems. So I wanted to start understanding some of those implicit, meaning those unconscious drivers, those unconscious mechanisms in the brain that are leading to certain behaviors. So the study of psychology is the study of human behavior, but now we're starting to integrate a neuroscientific perspective with human behavior. And so it's almost like that nature versus nurture. How much of your problem is, your biology? How much of it is your environment? And what does your
Absolutely.
context, your social economic status, your development, your upbringing, your access to resources, how does all of that play a role into somebody's behavior? So with me understanding that, I knew that going into neuroscience was going to be the way that I started to understand people. And then once I learned, how the human mind works, I knew it a little bit more. I was starting to understand how, one, this could be misused, this information can be abused in our policies, right? And our marketing. And then I started to see it everywhere. people were being targeted via social media, via the news, via other media platforms specifically. And a lot of people, a lot of poor people, minoritized people don't realize how science affects their everyday life. And they don't even realize how, their decisions are impacted, by so many things that they're exposed to out in the world. And in like, if you have a brain, you should know about it. You should know how to use it. You should know
Absolutely.
what's happening to it. You should know when you put certain substances in your body, what it can do to your body and your mind. And a lot of people are just very ignorant to that. And I wanted
Absolutely.
to get into the business of making science translatable, helping people to understand it, because that's a huge barrier. I could pull up a scientific paper and most people wouldn't understand it unless they had the background. So
Absolutely.
it's my job to teach people how science affects their life so they can start making better decisions for themselves. If I showed you the science behind, like, I work a lot with um, like healthcare workers, people in the prisons and things like that, teaching them how things like dehumanization and implicit bias and a lack of empathy actually works in the human brain, the processes of how it works in the human brain and how it's manifested through behavior, and how you don't even realize that this is happening to you. So
Absolutely.
teaching people that was a lot, but teaching people how science affects them, teaching people about their brains so that they can have more control and that they can get involved in these processes, because science is used for you and against you on a daily basis, and
I
you
absolutely agree.
consent to it unknowingly, but if
I
you know
definitely
that,
agree. I definitely agree, and a lot of people do not know that. And I know we have a lot, like in our communities, because I'm out here in the community, so I see a lot of drug addictions, alcohol abuse, and stuff like that. And that is one of the biggest concerns to me, and me being in the healthcare field and taking care of people, loved ones, and just seeing how they ended up in the predicament that they ended up in. And I just feel like with that, that is one of the biggest problems that we have in our communities.
it is a big problem, but we have to realize that we can't just treat the person alone. So
Absolutely.
we have a saying, where the response that we're seeing, people self-medicating, is actually a rational response when you don't have food, when you don't have education, when you don't have housing, when you don't have, help for your trauma. If you're
Absolutely.
being abused, self-medicating and getting on drugs is actually a rational response for someone to do. So if we don't want someone to do that, we need to give them other options. And so
I definitely agree.
if we're ever going to stop addiction, we have to assure that there are resources in place, not reactionary resources, but we're being proactive, meaning every child has food, right? Because you'll talk to
Absolutely.
these people and a lot of them have started when they were children.
Yeah.
Every child has food. Every child has parents that love them. Every child has access to an education, a safe environment, clean water, shelter.
I
Um,
love it. And I
so
definitely
if
agree.
we're going to talk about addiction, we need to talk about the reasons why people start self-medicating. It's not
Absolutely.
just a mental health issue. It is a socio-economic, a socio-cultural issue. Like, yes, people make the decision to get on drugs, but do they really make that decision if they have no other option?
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
there are studies out there looking at what people will do to stop the pain, right? Like, so if your leg is hurting, you will take drugs to stop your
Absolutely.
leg from hurt. If I'm cramping, I'm popping four, you know, ibuprofen. I will do whatever to stop the pain. And what's
Absolutely.
funny is in the brain, this is probably something new for a lot of people, but in the brain, the same area of the brain that processes physical pain also process emotional pain. Your brain cannot tell the difference. When your heart is aching, when your heart is in pain and you're hurting, maybe you had a breakup, maybe you lost a loved one, your brain responds the same way as if you just broke your leg. It cannot tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't take pills to numb your emotional pain.
Absolutely. You're
So what you
definitely
do
right.
is now you start injecting other things in your body to take your mind off of it. You've tried to numb the pain by distracting yourself from it, and now you got to take another extreme step by completely erasing your reality, at least for a little while. You're going to try to erase your memories. You're going to try to get out of your normal state. You're going to try to get high. You're going to do whatever, because the brain literally says all we feel is pain. I don't care if it's pain in your heart. I don't care if it's pain in your leg. I'm processing it the exact same way. When
Mm-hmm.
I learned that, it blew my mind. It blew my mind, because I was like, oh, that makes sense. I don't know if you've ever had a heartache before, but you can literally feel that.
Yes.
You can feel
Like,
that in your chest, and it actually hurts. It's the same. Your brain is processing it in the same way that it's processing if you fell down the stairs and broke your leg. All it knows is we're in pain and we need to do something to stop it.
absolutely.
And if you
Absolutely.
don't have resources, guess what? People are going to go and do what they need to do. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm teaching, is like, we can't just say anymore, you know, people make choices and they shouldn't make the choice to do drugs. I need to show you how the brain is processing the pain of your trauma. I spoke with a woman who had been raped multiple times. That changes your brain, right? I could show you the brain scans of someone who's gotten raped and someone, who fell down and broke her leg 15 places, and they're going to look the same. If I can show you these two brains, and you're not going to be able to tell the difference. You know why? Because they're both in pain.
Wow.
And how they respond is in the behavior. So if you don't have resources, if you don't know how to cope, if you don't have support, right? Social support. There's a theory, it's called social baseline theory. It says that, we're, our social, our social group is like nutrients to our body.
Yes.
Without social support, we have to expend more energy, and that energy exhausts us. And when we get exhausted, we make bad decisions.
Absolutely. I
There's a
absolutely agree.
there's a science behind all of it. And so, like, my goal is to teach people that, so that our um interventions are, they're evidence based and they're data driven, and they make more sense, and they actually tangibly help more people, versus saying, here's a 90-day treatment facility where you're really not going to get the type of comprehensive help that you need.
Mm-hmm. I
So
absolutely, like, since I've been in this new field, I actually understand what you were saying. I
mhm.
know most people would not understand, but when they know that, they say your brain, your mind is a powerful thing. And I absolutely believe that, because one minute you could be feeling a certain type of way, and then you hear a certain song or someone just talking to you, and it depends on how they're talking to you, because they say what you put in, that's what you get back. So if they talking to you positively, like, you can really 360 the whole way you was thinking.
Oh, I mean, there's a whole science behind being triggered as well, right? Like
Yes.
your memory. So essentially, that's what's happening. Like I said before, your brain is designed to protect you. So if there's something traumatic that happened to you, and your brain recognizes a sound, a smell, or something that was associated with that trauma, the brain freaks out, and it's like, ooh, we got to protect ourselves. Remember what
That's
happened
right.
last time? Just like a child who burns themselves on the stove for the first time, and you're like, I bet you won't touch it again. Your brain is the same exact way, but it gets hard when that one experience was a one time isolated experience. Like you get your heart broken and it was so traumatic for your brain, you know, you experienced emotion like you'd never experienced before. Your brain remembers that and it learns from that. It's called like neuroplasticity, right? Like your brain learns from things and it adjusts according to your environment, it adjusts according to what you're going through, right? So if I see a stove again and I see that it's hot, you know, my brain is going to remember the last time we got burned and I'm
That's
going to be
right.
more hesitant. But that works with everything.
Yes.
So we've got to like train our brains like, oh, it's okay. That was a one-time thing. We're going to be all right.
Absolutely.
But it's important that the everyday person understands that, because when they don't, they just are like, what's happening to me? What's wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking this way? Why am I so scared? Not understanding that they're going through normal things that the brain, you know, has adjusted to.
Absolutely.
You know, if you grow up in an environment that's abusive, you know, your brain has adjusted to that. And now when you go out into the world, you've got like a shield, a mental shield your brain remembers. So anything that looks like it, smells like it, feels like it, you're going to be like, ah,
that's right.
Automatically. And it's implicit. You don't even realize it's happening. So I feel it's my responsibility to spread that information on a scientific and data-driven level to our community so that this could be one of the ways we could stop drug use. One of the ways that we can teach people, hey, what you're going through is actually a rational response. Here's another way to cope. Because if you go this route, it's not going to be good.
And not to cut you off, but we need more people out here on the front lines to teach the people that. Because when we think about it, you know, we have been programmed as people. Like when we watching TV, you know, they have those commercials on where they advertising the liquor, they advertising the cigarettes and everything. So once your mind see, your brain see that, once you see that, it's like, oh, this is something that you want because you have seen it. And then with these commercials, they do their editing and stuff like that. They make it look so good, but this is not really what you're going to be getting. But we as people, we get programmed like this. So it's a lot of programming going on. So that's why I said we need more people on the front line so we can program people the way they need to be programmed.
Yeah, I think there's an unlearning process that has
That's
to
right.
happen.
I love what you just said. Unlearn.
Yeah, because we're all influenced.
Yes.
That's, you know, there's a whole science behind that as well, you know? So, like, when I say science is everywhere, it's in marketing. They literally take data from your phone, everything that you click on, every time you watch a movie, everything you listen to. There are statistics and data being taken from that, and that's how they know what to do next. You see what I'm saying? So there's an unlearning process. There's a process of consciousness that has to occur so you understand what's happening to you. And it's still learning. We're all still learning. I don't know everything there is to know. But it's not even just liquor and cigarettes and drugs. It's our food. It's our television. It's our music.
Right.
It's, you know, who we surround ourselves with. Again, our social group is like, it provides nutrients to our bodies, you know?
That's right.
And so like the sun, you go outside in the sun and it actually does things to you. Same with social support, like holding somebody's hand makes a tangible difference, you know? That's why you need to hold babies and love on them. And you know what I mean? Like that's, you know, there's so much that goes into it. And we have to be careful about what we're putting in our bodies and in our minds. And that includes who we are around, who we talk to. So if we want to change, we got to be around people that are doing something different, you know?
Absolutely.
So I want people to get more involved in science, and we traditionally have been left out. We've been participants. People have studied us, but we are not leading our own scientific studies with our own lens of our own community. So a lot of things are European washed. A lot of things are Western washed. a lot of views of our community are coming from a whiteness / Western perspective. We know us better than anybody else knows
That's
us,
right.
but we're not the ones studying us. So we're
That's
not the
right.
ones putting out, the narrative about us. Other people are doing that. And when you
Absolutely.
give other people the power to determine your narrative, that determines your reality. So
That's
when
right.
you look at the research, there's so many things in it that says that everything is wrong with us. And like
Yes.
literally, it's always like, what's the rate of teenage pregnancy in the Black community? Like, and it's unfortunate because we're studied like we're some monolithic group of people, and so I feel like that's where I come in. That's my fight. That's my form of protest. My form of resilience is to go in and change that field. And that's my goal, is to go to a top school, get a neuroscience degree, and start producing research that's more accurate and more representative of the truth of our communities. And I also would like to do like policy advising for a major world organization or the White House, so that at the highest level, right, at the highest level of government, the information being produced, the policies being produced, have actual people that look like us in the room at the table.
I love it. I love it.
So
And I'm just
that's
going,
where I'm headed.
you go ahead, sister girl. You got this. You go ahead. I love what you are saying. Like, you just dropped so many gems on this platform. So when you all subscribe and leave a comment in the comment section below, hashtag gems, because she just dropped so many gems for you guys. For you guys that did not know, we gotta have you come back here because you just gave us so much knowledge, and a lot of people do not understand it. This is what I be trying to tell people, but the way that the world has programmed some of us, some of us has not been programmed in such a way, because me personally, I'm not a person that to sit around and watch television all day. No, not me. But some of us has been programmed into a place where they may think that, what we believe in, the things that we talk about, they may think we're crazy or something. So the world have them programmed to think that we're not normal, they're normal. Everybody have their own beliefs, their own opinions and everything like that, and I understand that. But just to get everybody on, I I can't say everyone, but the Black community on a certain level, because as you stated, they do have us out here in a whole nother light, in a whole nother area. They do the research for us. Even when I go on my phone, sometimes I might be just talking about some things, but it'd be right there on my phone what I was talking about, like the phone listening in. So, like, they may think that, we're kind of crazy because they've been programmed and conditioned in a certain way. So for you to be out here and be behind the scenes doing the work that you are doing, like, I commend you for that. Like, that's the work that needs to be done, and we need more people that needs to be out here on the front line doing this work too. And me personally, I want to be involved in what you're doing too. But I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started, and right now I'm with 2 to 6 years old, and I'm with 2 to 6 years old, and they are very challenging.
No worries. And I mean, I'm eventually going to
Give
get
me
to a
1
point
second. I'll be
where,
right.
uh-oh. Okay. I'm going to have a little drink while we wait.
I'm sorry about that, you guys, but I am back. But yes, what would you say? And I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're totally fine. I mean, my phone is dying too. It just went on 10%. So
yes. So we definitely was about to get wrap it up, but you just dropped so much knowledge right there. It's like, this is what the people need to hear. This is what needs to be out there. And They don't know nothing about this. They don't know nothing about
Not
science
yet.
or
Times are
anything.
changing.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's why you are out here, and I'm sure they, as I stated, Queens Who Empower Queens was built on a platform like this to go empower other queens, to let them know that, hey, we have a job to do. We're building back our communities. So I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. So with that being said, we have our last question on this platform for you, Miss Caitlin. And
Okay.
thank you.
I gotta hurry. My phone is dying.
Yes.
I don't want it to
So
hang
with that
up
being
on me.
said, from one queen to another, with the knowledge that you have now, what advice would you leave on this platform for another queen to protect her throne?
To protect her throne. You know what? I don't think that's your job as a queen is to protect your throne. I think your job as the queen is to prepare somebody else to take over your throne. Realize that you are not in that position forever. So while you are there, have a purpose for it and make all the difference that you can. You will forever have your title, but the next title holder is going to come along and you will be a former. And so I do believe while you're, enjoying and basking in your glory, that you are rolling out the carpet for the next woman to come, because none of us occupy this earth or this space forever. So while you're here, use this opportunity, this crown, this title to truly make a difference. Don't just have it. Don't just walk around looking beautiful, but be prepared to give it up, and leave a legacy. And when I say leave a legacy, it's not what you leave behind, but what you build. It's what you build for the future. So I would encourage every queen to, enjoy her time with her title, because I sure did. I was traveling, I did all of the things, but just remember how you got here. Remember your journey, and remember someone else is, looking up to you and wanting to be in your spot. And so do everything that you can to create space for the next person to follow in your footsteps. So that would be my advice, is to remain humble in this position, and to create space. Use it and be an example, be a representation, and create space.
I love it. I love it. You just dropped
Thank
so
you.
many gems on this site tonight. We love you. We want to thank you. Can you please let the people know where they can reach out to you and where they can follow you at?
Oh, yes. You can just follow me on social media. Kaylin Tiggs, Kaylin. Last name is Tiggs. So you can follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram. Just look that name up and it'll pop up for you. So thank you all so much.
Yes. Thank you, Queen. We appreciate you here at Queens Who Empower Queens. And we look forward to having you again, Queen, on Queens Who Empower Queens. And I'm going to put you in the back office. Your phone probably died, but hey, I'm sure that we will get back in touch with each other. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up for us. And if you're still in the back office, I'll see you there. You have a wonderful evening.
Bye-bye.
And there you guys have it, people. I told you guys I was bringing you guys nothing but the exclusive. You guys, you all heard it best from Miss Kaylin Tiggs herself. She just dropped gems on Queens Who Empower Queens tonight about the science of the human body, the legacy you build, what you're leaving behind. We're building real queens up over here. We're building real legacies over here. Be bold about it. Embrace it. Step out your comfort zone and just do it, y'all. Just do it. Love what you do and own who you truly are and be you. And with that being said, you all already know who I am. My name is Sarah, the founder here at Queens on Power Queens. Please hit that subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Like this interview. Let Miss Kaylin know that you all appreciate her for dropping those gems on Queens on Power Queens tonight. And we hope you all are having a great evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time zone you guys are tuning in with us at. And also, for those of you that do not know, we have started our Reading Empowerment book club, and the first book that we have started reading here is Envy Her by our author Isha J, you guys. So if you all are in the Reading Empowerment Club, please reach out to us so you all can get your book, so you all can start with us in our Reading Empowerment Club. And with that being said, you all have a wonderful night, and we are out.